Welcome into Home Team Friday Countdown alongside the guru, Colin Davies, and the voice of Bossy Field, Zane Clodfelter. I'm Michael Gross. Thanks for joining us, fellas. We've reached the halfway point in the season, week number 5 of high school football. What does that mean for the contenders who are trying to win a state championship?
Those contending teams start to separate themselves from the rest of the pack.
And I think we're going to be looking at the 3A class as we go on and on here in the season. Gibson Southern, Heritage Hills, and Memorial. We'll see which one of them is truly the cream of the crop.
Certainly the strongest bunch to choose from there. Let's grab a look at the best games this week in the Tri-State. Heritage Hills, North Posey off the bat, a rematch of the 3A and 2A state championship runners-up. Ocath and Henderson County, that's a big game down in Kentucky. And then Mater Dei and Jasper, those Wildcats, looking for a bounce-back game after last week's Hunger Bowl loss to Memorial. We'll start with that top game on the list, Heritage Hills and North Posey. These two teams are probably two of the strongest teams that have a case to go back to the state championship this year. Who's got the edge?
Well, I think for North Posey, this is pretty much a fascinating bunch. They didn't return a whole lot of players, but they're still looking like a state championship-worthy squad. And while the Vikings have already beaten a few solid opponents, this one will be a true test to see if they are ready for the best season in program history. Unlike last year, this team has more balance with Carter Schickel's ability to pass the ball and not just running it with Jed Galvin. And on the defensive side, if they can slow down Jet Goldsberry, they'll be able to cause problems on any quarterback they face the rest of the season.
We often like to chat about offensive stats, but I want to tip my cap to Heritage Hills defense, shutting out back-to-back opponents the last 2 weeks in dominating victories over Boonville and county rival South Spencer. The Patriots' strong defense has allowed the Heritage Hills offense to dictate pace, and the reigning Home Team Friday MVP Jet Goldsberry has done his part in guiding the Patriots to a 3-1 start ahead of a challenging stretch the next few weeks, playing the Vikings and the Titans.
Not just reigning weekly Home Team Friday MVP, but the season, too, was the 2023 MVP. The next game on our list is Jasper and Mater Dei. Jasper is a team that runs that triple option offense. They're really good with Max Butel at quarterback, but Mater Dei has been strong so far this season. Who's got the edge?
Well, it's been a feast or famine situation offensively for the Jasper Wildcats with this 2-2 start, but last week they feasted with a 41-0 shutout win over Bossy at Enloe Field. In the 2 victories, Jasper is averaging 41 points, but in the 2 losses, the point average drops to just 10. Since joining the SIAC, Jasper has gone 3-1 against Mater Dei, and all 3 of those victories scored at least 28 points. I like the Jasper defense. We'll see if the offense can replicate last week's success.
Well, for Mater Dei's side, they got a gut check last week against Memorial. And if we know anything about Mike Gable's teams, they'll respond. I expect quarterback Tate Mallory to get his Wildcat offense back in rhythm with passes to Nolan Schickel and handoffs to Cade Thacker. The West Side squad had trial by fire last week, and I think this week those burns will be what motivate them to put up a big showing in Jasper.
You just hope it doesn't get crooked too early in that contest. Speaking of a team that likes to put up crooked numbers, Owensboro Catholic heading into Henderson County this week. Ocath has been everything we've thought they would be and more as a 2A school. They're playing a 6A school now. What does that do for them when they go under the bright lights at Colonel Stadium? Yeah,
I think it'll be really interesting to see, and especially from Henderson's point of view. They've been playing some huge schools, and while Ocath is only a 2A side, they've got the talent of a 5A or a 6A. For the Colonels, the defensive side of the ball will need their best game of the year. The guy I'm looking out for is Jericho Butler, who has been a menace rushing the passer this year. He's got to be Brady Atwell's face all game to make sure that air raid offense doesn't have time for their plays to develop. As for the offense, it's pretty simple. They'll have to put up 30 to have a shot.
Well, Colin, the Aces streak of double-digit victories continued last week with a 12-point victory over longtime rival Owensboro. And while the Red Devils were able to put up 31 points, it wasn't nearly enough to offset the production of the Aces' offensive attack. Last week, it was a balanced offensive effort that put together over 500 yards of offense, and Brady Atwell threw just shy of 300 while also running for 100 more. The Aces continue to chug along as we get closer to the month of October.
Let's take a look at our Home Team Friday game of the week. North at Bossy. Enloe Field has not been friendly confines for the Bossy Bulldogs themselves, pretty much for everybody else they've played. These are 2 teams that have struggled so far this season. They've allowed a lot of points, haven't exactly scored a lot of points, but this is one of those games where you can turn a season around not a very formidable opponent for either side, but still two teams that want to compete and can compete and have every right to win that game. And after the conclusion of that game and every game, tune in tomorrow for another home team Friday at 10:35 on ABC 25. For Colin Davies and Zane Clodfelter, I'm Michael Gross.